Welcome. Last time we talked about replicating a data visual from a Kaiser Family Foundation, and today we're going to get focused on how to extract that data directly out of CDC WONDER, hence CDC WONDER 101. That is specifically data from the US Vital Statistics System and specifically mortality data. They also have nativity data. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to show how to get data like this out of the system. So let's get started. We first go to the source itself. And here's the same visual that we just looked at. We can extract the data directly. And it pulls down neatly into a CSV file. Here it is. There's more data here than we need, but it has all the 7 columns of data representing each of these lines. It's covering from 2000 to 2021. From 2000 to 2021. We're going to only focus on the firearms data, but let's be good at using version control. So this is KFF. Then we're going to have CDC original. Then we're going to have CDC mini, which I'll show you the difference. Then we're going to have validate. All right. We're also going to call this something else because it's a CSV file. If we don't rename it to an Excel file, we will lose those other tabs. For the purpose of this, I'm going to just save it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it appropriately from the organization, the specific data source, the specific tool, the specific focus, the specific population, and the years. That might seem like an overkill, but you'll see what I mean. Gets messy quite quickly if we don't. All right, let's get down to tracking down the data. I'm going to go to CDC WONDER. This is a federal data asset made available through tax dollars. And we're going to have to pull it down in 2 different mechanisms. We have to pull it down for the first segment up through 2020. And we're going to also get updated data as well as that 2021 year. So we're going to go and do the same thing twice. So repetition can be good. First, we need to read all of this. I have read it, you should too, and agree to play by the rules. We are restricting on several things. First year, up until 2020, and then by age. Go here to demographics, and we're going to restrict from 1 to 17, excluding 0. So we need to go to single year 1. On my Mac, I click Shift and track down. Then you can of course do it the hard way. I prefer the easier. So I click on injury intent, and I'm specifically interested in firearms, which is a use case here. So I click firearms. And then I make the request. It gets pulled from the database, and it will return to us rather quickly, depending on how big of a pull it is, the data that we need, most of it at least. So let's look at this. We have a data set that starts at 1999. We don't need that, but at 2000, it's 1531. And in 2020, it's 2270. Is that the same data? Here, 1531, and over here, 2270. So it looks like it. Let's extract this data. We export it as a Excel compatible file. It opens right away. and we copy over all of this. Now this might seem like an overkill, but it is not. You want to keep all this information. It's good contextual data in case you ever need to return to it to defend your work or expand on concepts. It even has the details for which years you pulled. All right, but for this exercise, we're just doing these few columns up here. In fact, there's a lot of other stuff we can get rid of, so let's just delete that. Now I do want to get the other years. It's always nice to create updated data visuals. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to start all over with CDC WONDER. Go all the way to the back, start out, choose the new partition. So that is this one. Again, read and agree to the rules. Partition by year. Subset by age. And select the specific cause of death, which is in this case, children that died by year by firearm. And we make the request. Same thing, wait a little bit, and the data will come. Let's double check that we have the right numbers. This time we're looking for this number, 2,571. Last number here is 2,571. We feel good about this. Same thing, we don't try to copy from the cell. We instead export. It reduces chance of error. And what we want to pull are these few cells, and we copy and paste over here. Now we're not over. We're not finished. We now have updated data, more than KFF provided. We want to validate. We checked out two numbers, but that was not a full validation. So let's add here a validation process. We start at 2000, and we go all the way to 21 for our validation. And what we're going to do is we could use different measures. You can either just do one data source minus the other data source, or you can do a relative number, divide by the final. But regardless, right now this is the simplest way. We have a complete match. Everything looks really good. So we have validated our work. All we now need to do is make a visual that looks close to what Kaiser Family Foundation did. We highlight, we insert, we can go to recommended graph and choose this. Voilà, there it is. We don't need to do much more than this. It's already in really good shape. How do I know? Well, you take a look and compare and see what you think. We're comparing the blue line to the blue line. Change the color so it looks the same. It looks like ours is a bit taller. It's not following the same kind of cadence. So what can we do? Well, three things. Let's change here. The y-axis to us is just going to 3,000. Theirs is going to 5,000. Double click. And increase it to 5,000. That's a first step. Closer. Remember, this last part you cannot compare because these are new data that are outside of this room. Okay, the next is there are more numbers here than there are for the Kaiser Family Foundation. They're skipping at 1,000. We are skipping at 500. So let's go back again. And that is changed here. When you change here, you also will see that the grid lines follow along. So we are much closer. This looks really good. Now, let's change this. Here we're skipping not a single year. It looks really crowded on the x-axis. So similarly, we can change the label frequency. And Kaiser did every 2 years, so let's do that. And you see how it just keeps on going. Looks exactly the same. Maybe we can do one more thing here. We can add a label. Here, firearms is here instead of on a legend. So what we do is we basically insert a text box. That's my dog in the background sleeping. Apologize for that. It's cute though. Okay, that's how it works. Thanks for watching.